love this.
You love kids. You not only like to be around children, you enjoy playing, reading, singing, and talking with children. Could family childcare be the profession for you?
Patience, compassion. You have to have compassion and a love for children. This is not a money field by any means. Because people think, do daycare, sit at home? Because that's not what you do. You work, and it's not always the money. Because sometimes you have to take a cut. But if you gotta love the children, when you see the joy, their little faces light up, the smile, that has to be an interest for you. Because anybody, I think, can start doing daycare or babysitting something, but if you love it, it has to be something in you to keep you going.
Caring for children in your home can be an exciting professional career opportunity. Does this sound like you? You envision yourself making a difference in a child's life. You're curious about how children learn and play. You get excited and can envision your home as a place where children can play, learn, and grow. You know there's a lot more to learn, and you're willing to learn it. As you're thinking about childcare as a profession, there are many things to consider. Establishing, running, and maintaining a successful childcare business requires more than simply loving children.
The childcare is an important thing to us. We just want to make sure we have the right tools and the right equipment and create the right surrounding and environment for these children to learn in. And we don't know all the answers. And if that takes someone coming in to tell us or show us or mentor us or whatever these are programs that we've been involved in, we're open to it. We're not afraid of it. We're going to embrace it because knowledge is the key to helping these kids. When I see other people, thinking about going into this business, I want to, try to help them along the way, tell them it's not as hard as you think it is. There's a lot of things that you have to use, forms, agencies you have to go through, but they're there to help you. Don't be afraid of it. Because not only you have to take care of the child, you have to go through the business side of it, which is your different programs, your administration part. You got to take care of all of that because that's what keeps your business going.
Some of the things you would need to consider, scheduling. It is very flexible, but sometimes families do need full care, so you have to be willing to make that commitment. I've been very fortunate that I have families that work around my schedule, and I still have a lot of time to be with my children, and it allows me time to homeschool. I would just say the commitment to the business, to the families and the children. Well, I like the business side. I'm very organized. I like paperwork and doing things like that. So that part for me comes really easily. Thoughts on safety. Well, that's probably the most important thing is that you have a safe space. There's a lot of resources out there that can help you make sure that your space is safe. But that's the number one thing is to make sure that all the children are safe. Let's look.
In the childcare profession, relationships are important, especially relationships with families. Positive and frequent communication with families lets them know that you respect and care about them, and that you want the families to be involved in your childcare program.
Every parent is different. If we treat them all differently, then it's going to work instead of trying to put them all in a box and say, I want everybody to be just like this. That is not going to work.
I was worried about his cold. Did he have a cold? Did he look like he had a cold?
Yeah, a little bit. I think with parents, you need to have a good relationship with parents. From the very beginning, try and be involved. It's really helpful if you have a good relationship because then when things come up, you can talk to parents easier. Whether it's a discipline problem or an emotional problem, if you have a good relationship, I think the parents are more willing to talk through and work things out. I talk to the parents a little bit, tell them what's going to happen that day. Usually I try and, ask them quickly a little bit. I know sometimes they're in a hurry, but ask them about their day. I have a mother that's expecting right now, so there's a lot to talk about with her. So I try and be involved and let them know that they're important and their family's important. Can you push this around like a ball? Again, we take time to talk about what happened that day. I try and focus on the positive first. If the child had a horrible day, try and find something good that happened to tell the parent first, because the last thing they want to be hit with is all the bad things that happened that day. If there's an issue, you want to share that, but try and keep it positive with families. And they are in a hurry, so I just try and quickly just give them an overview, because I think that it's important for them to know what's going on. So, and newsletters is another way. If I have, a lot that I need to share, then I do newsletters or send notes home.
While children's family members are the most important teachers, children are also influenced by other adults in their lives. When children are in the care of adults who are professional and who understand child development, children can thrive and become successful learners.
I usually take time on the weekends. Usually Sunday evening I sit down, my husband entertains my children, and I sit down with a cup of tea or coffee and work out what I'm going to do for that week. I used to plan ahead, but I like to go more with what the children are interested in. So I find if I do that on a weekly basis, plus you have to be flexible. Like today we're not on schedule, we're doing something different, and with young children it's good to be able to be flexible but still have a plan. Yeah, I would say we play with purpose. You look for opportunities to teach no matter what you're doing.
And it's very refreshing to see that what I have been doing and what I'm now learning is all coming together and making me a better whole person to take care of. And by going back to school, it put a whole new dynamic. When I'm talking to a child, how I converse with a child, how I help that child. Because a lot of time a child don't need a lot of help. There's certain stages in their life they need a lot of help, and sometimes you got to step back and let them start figuring things out, how to do things themselves. And that's what the most important thing with me right now, that I'm figuring out how these children are developed at each stage in their life, from infancy to toddler to preschoolers or before. I'm learning a lot more now by furthering my education. Now I can incorporate more knowledge in what I can do now. I think it made me a better teacher and a provider to these children, definitely.
I would suggest go to another family daycare provider's house and sit and observe, and interact with the kids and see if it's really something you want to do.
Make sure they have the room, okay? You don't want to put your family out. Make sure you have room. You don't need to have one specific room for them. You could try to, try to have a family room, a playroom, all in one. Before you start, get some books, take some classes, go to daycares that will give you some information and ideas, and make a list. There's a lot of help out there.
Wow, you're thinking about starting daycare. Ask a lot of questions. Network with other people that are doing the same thing. Don't reinvent the wheel. It's already out there. It's already been figured for you. You're trying to make a handbook, you don't have to start from scratch. Call somebody like myself who already know, network with a big center, try to find somebody who already has their stars, and kind of like piggyback on somebody else and network with them when you get a minute, whenever that is. But I just feel like if it's something you really want to do, it's going to happen.
So, if family childcare is something you really want to do, take time to think and reflect. To help bring you closer to making a decision, revisit the ideas mentioned by these experienced family childcare professionals and think about, is childcare the job for me?
Visit Better Kid Care. www.betterkidcare.psu.edu. We care because you care.